Good morning. Good morning. Hey, everybody. So good morning to all of you here in Athens, Georgia, and to our friends who have joined us virtually. My name is Lori Van Egren, and I'm president of the Engagement Scholarship Consortium. My pronouns are she, her. It is my pleasure to welcome you back to ESC. ESC 2022. You'll see from the banners and the welcome slides that we have many people to thank for returning our annual meeting to an in-person event, and I myself am thrilled to be back in person, and it's wonderful to see all the familiar faces and the new ones. Much like the community engaged work we value so highly, this meeting is truly a collaborative effort. 16 universities from the Southern region are serving as hosts, and I want to thank everyone on the planning committee for contributing their time and expertise to making this meeting a great success. You'll find these folks with a committee ribbon on their name badge, so please introduce yourself to them and thank them for their year-long work and longer to bring this meeting to Athens. And especially want to thank our friends here at the University of Georgia and at this conference center for creating this beautiful, welcoming space in which we can all gather. Also, I want to add a special thanks to our sponsors this year who have provided ESC with additional financial support that's been used to subsidize student registration and allowed us to add an opening reception last night. And I hope you were able to attend. It was a lot of fun. Our sponsors include North Carolina State University and Dickinson College at the silver level, Georgia College and Give Pulse at the bronze level, and North Georgia at the Friend of ESC level. Please give our sponsors a round of applause. At this point, I will turn the podium over to the ESC 2022 conference organizer and ESC board representative and my friend, Paul Brooks, to welcome you to the conference.
Well, thank you, Lori. It is my pleasure to welcome you to ESC 2022. As Lori indicated, the return to both an in-person and virtual offering has been an exciting challenge for all of us, and it wouldn't have been possible without our collaborative team. And here are the names of our team members, conference co-chairs, our logistics team leads, and if you will, please provide a round of applause for this amazing group. It is now my privilege to introduce UGA's Vice President for Public Service and Outreach, Jennifer Frum, who will welcome you to the University of Georgia. Most everyone here knows Jennifer, who has served in her role for the past 11 years. Dr. Frum's biography is included in the program materials, so I will not provide a long introduction, but suffice it to say, she has provided unparalleled leadership during her time at UGA. Under her guidance, public service and outreach has been front and center to UGA's mission to serve the state of Georgia by partnering with communities to identify locally identified needs and issues. Vice President Frum oversees the operations for training, technical assistance, continuing education, and applied research programs that help create new small businesses, make government more efficient, provide students with real-world experiences, and bring economic development to Georgia, which has a $991 billion annual economic impact on the state. She also serves as publisher to the Journal of the Higher Education Outreach and Engagement, one of ESC's 2 sponsored journals. So at this time, please help me welcome Vice President Frum to the podium.
Well, thank you, Paul, and thank you, Laurie. I am so pleased to welcome outreach and engagement colleagues from across the country and around the world. And we are honored that you chose the University of Georgia to host this meeting. And I want to welcome everybody, whether they're joining us here in person or virtually today. As Laurie said, we have 16 partner institutions from the Southern region who are co-hosting this conference. And I want to take a minute for all of us to acknowledge them and also to acknowledge the hard work of Paul Brooks from the University of Georgia and his co-chair, Shannon Wilder. They've been working for over a year on this. I know they're very excited to have you all here, and they will be very excited to see you all go. But they put a lot of work in this, so thank you to all of our host institutions and to Shannon and Paul. The UGA Conference Center and Hotel, where we are today, was the second residential adult learning center created with support from the W.K. Kellogg Foundation in 1953. And I see a former director of the Georgia Center with us today, Laura Lee Sandman. It's good to see you. And although this center has undergone many physical changes over the decades, the center remains the hub for the University of Georgia for adult and youth continuing education activities, and now, of course, reimagined for the 21st century. As I look around the room, I'm excited to see friends and colleagues from across the country who are truly doing inspirational outreach and engagement work in their own communities. Here at the University of Georgia, we are fortunate that outreach and engagement have become ingrained in virtually everything we do. Our outreach programs are indeed the infrastructure that connect the university, students, and faculty with communities to jointly tackle tough issues. Whether it's partnering to revitalize downtowns or improve access to healthcare, or helping to expand broadband access to rural communities, our students and faculty are engaging in real and tangible ways that make a difference. And we are using these experiences to advance the scholarship of engagement and expand best practices in experiential learning and applied research. I know that everybody here brings unique and innovative approaches to the way you carry out engagement, and I'm so impressed by the vast array of community-based scholarship that's going to be presented over the course of this conference. The theme of this conference, the impact of engaged scholarship, people, purpose, and passion, is fitting, I think, for our current times. There's much turmoil in the world. We all see it playing out in our communities and on our campuses in different ways. And as faculty, as staff, as students and administrators, now is the time for us to recommit to being responsive, fully engaged, and open-minded partners with our communities. Let's renew our resolve to fully realize the impact that engaged scholarship can have on improving people's lives. Truly, there is no greater purpose for higher education. So I am honored to join you in this important work. I hope that you all leave ESC 2022 with a renewed sense of purpose, passion, and determination to create a sustained impact. Thank you again for bringing ESC to the University of Georgia, and I hope you all have a terrific conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer and Paul. I know I can speak for all when I say we're all thrilled to be here in sunny Georgia, and we're looking forward to another stimulating conference. Before I begin my president's report, I want to take a moment to acknowledge and thank former ESC President Samori Pruitt from the University of Alabama. Samori here somewhere? There you are. During his term as president, I valued his tremendous leadership, and I knew I'd have big shoes to fill, and the support he's given me over the past year has just been immeasurable and really allowed for a smooth handoff on a solid footing. So I look forward to continuing to work with Samori in his role as immediate past president. So let's give one more round of applause to Samori for all the work that he did in really creating the structure of ESC as it is today. So thank you, Samori. Now I want to spend some time giving you some updates from the ESC leadership. All right, are you going to work? Says it's on. Can you advance it? Oh, did you do that or did I do that? Okay. All right, we're going to see how this goes. So first I want to give you, for some of you have been in this organization for a very long time, but I want to be able to give a little bit of a historical perspective to folks. So can you advance? Oh, I can't read that. It's way up there. So in 1999, 3 universities came together. It was Penn State, The Ohio State, and University of Wisconsin Extension, and said, hey, let's have a conference about engagement. And they did that for many years. And then in 2000, and they called it the Outreach Scholarship Conference, and it had some different names. In 2009, it would change to the National Outreach Scholarship Conference and incorporated as a nonprofit. Hy Fitzgerald, who was Associate Provost for Outreach and Engagement at Michigan State, became the president and started inviting new members, and it became a membership organization. In 2013, it became the Engagement Scholarship Consortium. So really embracing that engagement piece of outreach and engagement. So it's still a conference, predominantly a conference at that point. In 2015, Samori became president and led off ESC 2020, which was really identifying programming that would include the conference, but go beyond the conference to provide supports to our constituents. And then last year, I was elected as president, and we just created ESC 2025, and I'm going to present that to you today as the next phase of ESC. You can advance. I do want to acknowledge our new members this year. We have Florida International University, Grand Valley State, and North Carolina A&T University. And so thank you to them for joining. Just real quick, show you who the officers are, because we had a major change this year. We had elections last year. So we have these folks who are now the officers and the board members at large. Take a look, see if you have anybody from your institutions who's on the leadership, and you should touch base with them and see about what opportunities there might be for you as well. You can advance. I also want to note the Esc Committee Chairs. We have a number of committees. And again, if you're interested in one of these committees, these are incredible opportunities to get into the workings of ESC and really understand how it's advancing. It's really a leadership and professional development opportunity. So we have an awards committee, we have communications, finance and administration, which is a lot more fun than you'd think. Governance, also more fun. It's got Susan Short on it, who's just fun, and so is Henry. Membership, scholarship, and we're going to have an opening as a committee chair there because Lynette will be stepping down later this year, getting to go do new things in her life. We have a conferences committee, not the planning committee, but a liaison with the planning committee for whatever that conference is that year. That's open. And we're going to have a new committee that I'm going to tell you about, which is professional development. May have a new name, but that's going to be a really exciting one. And I think a lot of people want to belong to that, and it needs a chair. So I want to give you a highlight on the Esc Signature Programs. Yesterday, we had our all-day board meeting, so thank you to all the board members who sat there for 8 hours and engaged. It was just such a fun meeting. I think it was a fun meeting. People stayed awake. I think that's the success. And we heard reports from all the different programs that we have. So we know that for the annual conference, we have 400 people in person, and this is the first time I think we've ever had to close out and make a waiting list, and then about 60 virtual. So yeah, I mean, we would like to have more people. We had as many as this place could hold, so that was incredibly exciting. We have our so I'm going to tell you some programs because you may not be familiar. We have an Emerging Engagement Scholars Workshop, which is really for those folks who want to learn how to not necessarily engage, but learn the foundation of the scholarship, but also how they build it into their careers, publish in it, document it for promotion and tenure. So this is a really great workshop, and next year you should think about who you could invite to participate. And we have the Outreach and Engagement Professionals Network, which has about 54 people this year, 57, something like that, which is really one of the only places where people who are not in the tenure stream or are in the tenure stream, but especially not in the tenure stream, but do this boundary spanning work, can come together and interact with each other and really, really engage. So that's a really phenomenal piece of what ESC is able to sponsor. We have a grants program. This year we had 51 submissions, and we were able to award 15 grants. Those are small grants, they're $5,000, but as you know, it's remarkable what you can do on a shoestring, and it sort of initiates and spurs that work. We have ESC Awards, which will be presented. There's a panel today and the awards presentation tomorrow, I believe, and we have 6 of those. And then we have 2 journals that we sponsor, Journal of Higher Education Outreach and Engagement, which published 44 articles this year, and the Journal of Community Engagement and Scholarship, which published 49. So these are, if we didn't have these journals, that's almost 100 articles about engagement scholarship that would never show the light of day potentially, or have a harder time in other venues. So I also want to, say thank you to all the people who are doing all these different programs and organizing them. They're a lot of work. So thank you to them. Now, coming into the role this year, one of the things that I thought was critical was to be able to hear from our member representatives, all our different institutions. You can move forward. So I did about 45 interviews and asked all of our member representatives, so each institution has a member representative on the board, these questions. I wanted to get to know you, I wanted to get to know your role and your institution's needs, because we have a huge variety of different kinds of institutions in this organization, which is another thing that makes it a little unique. What's been working well in ESC and what are areas to build on? And then what ideas do you have to advance ESC as we move into the next phase? Because the programs that Samori and team put into place are working great. What can we do next? So what I learned out of these interviews was that members really value and when I say members, again, we're talking about the engagement leaders who are there to support their faculty, staff, and students in this work. So it's from their perspective. They really value the networking and the connections. They really value the opportunities for faculty that there are, faculty and staff and students through these different programs that I just described. And they really value the credibility that it gives them in their institutions and with their leadership of being a part of an organization that is well respected and really focuses on building the scholarship of engagement so that it really fits within the career path of their faculty and staff and students. I learned a lot of lessons from these discussions. One is how much the landscape is changing. So if you're not in administration, or maybe if even if you're not in administration, these things are shifting constantly. Offices are shifting. We get new presidents and provosts. People are moving from different place to different place. So these have to be really flexible positions to think about how to constantly be able to provide that support for our faculty and staff and students. People are really, institutions tend to join because they want to provide those opportunities for grants and presentations and publishing for their faculty and staff. And they find a lot of value in talking to others at the conference, because if you're in these positions, you run into all kinds of problems and you don't have a lot of places to go and share those experiences about what'd you do about this, So they also need evidence to justify the cost of the membership. So we have a sliding scale depending on the size of the institution. And everybody always has to justify, of course, why you would continue belonging in any organization. And one thing we learned is that ESC is kind of discovered by accident. So there are some organizations everybody knows, and we would like ESC to be one of them. I don't think we're there yet. Okay. And what they wanted was more learning opportunities. This is the big one. They want more learning opportunities for their faculty and staff and students. And often they don't have the capacity in their organization to provide all kinds of professional development about how do you engage, what is a partnership like, how do you divide responsibilities, what does it mean to have power differentials, and how do you avoid those in your engagement, but also how do you publish? How do you document this for promotion and tenure? What are different ways to publish? And so all these kinds of things are really important to them to be able to provide to their faculty and staff and students. And they also want information and resources that are going to help them as leaders. Like, we can't pay community partners. How do you get community partners paid? Because our bureaucracy is so difficult, right? They would like a professional community for their faculty and staff and themselves, and have more networking capacity, and especially for those non-tenure stream faculty who do this work, those boundary spanners. They would like support for faculty registration and travel to the conference, of course, more grants, opportunities for students. So we have some student opportunities, but it hasn't been an explicit focus of the organization, except for the Emerging Engagement Scholars Workshop. And then they want more communication. They want to know what's going on. They want to be able to communicate to their leaders, again, to be able to continue to get that money for membership. And so these were all things that were very valuable to the board as we're thinking about where to go next. So we created a strategic plan. We're going to call this 2025, ESC 2025. And here's the strategic planning committee. And I want to give a big shout out to everybody here because they did some deep thinking and then we presented to the board yesterday. And we've got 4 pillars or 4 themes, 4 strategic priorities. One is developing and valuing people. We want to expand capacity, recognition, and opportunities for the faculty, staff, students, and communities doing engaged scholarship. And here are some of the things that will make us get there. We want to have a standing professional development or education and resource committee that can really think about building those kinds of opportunities across the year and not only at the conference, probably virtually. And so we've got lots of things to build on already that different places are offering. We want to continue to administer our signature programs, offer those ongoing professional development opportunities, share resources, and increase the student involvement. So really all these things that can help people doing the work on the ground with partners. The next thing we want to be able to do is empower leaders, because your leaders are the ones who have to negotiate and develop those supports in your institutions so these can happen. So we want to create forums and learning for the outreach and engagement leaders to advance their engaged scholarship at their home institutions, institutionalizing this work, making it systemically recognized. So we want to have a regular forum for the leaders to connect, also have professional opportunities, development opportunities for leaders and emerging leaders who might be thinking about moving into these kinds of positions. Sharing resources that are going to help leaders, like, hey, everybody, can you share your promotion and tenure guidelines so we can see what those look like at your institution? Do you have a faculty fellows program that we could take a look at? Let's see what that looks like. We're thinking about one. And then promoting collective action to advocate for engaged scholarship, for critical societal impact, and really partnering with other organizations that are thinking about this, because everybody's thinking about this who does outreach and engagement in different areas, arts and humanities, STEM, health. We're all thinking about how do we get this work recognized in a way that will actually fit into the promotion and tenure, and that funders will build it into their proposals or proposal requirements, because that's going to be the thing that makes universities move. If you have to document this and do it in proposals, universities are more likely to really start building resources in so that can happen. And the last one is stewardship. We want to strengthen our organization's effectiveness and impact. We want to create, why is it so important to belong to ESC? We know in our heads. We want to be able to do that so we can go recruit new members. We're going to increase our membership, and I think this is a really reasonable goal to increase by 30%. We have 43 members right now. So a third is, okay, I shouldn't be doing the math on the fly, but we should at least be about 52 by 2025. I think we can be higher. And so, you all are part of that too. If you're here and you're not in a member institution, you go talk to folks and say, this was a really valuable experience. And look at all the stuff that's coming down the pike. We're going to be able to get all this professional development. If we're a member institution, we get it free. Think about that, to advocate for it. We want a communications plan so everybody can be updated about what's going on, partnerships with other orgs, looking at our policies and practices, and really making sure explicitly that they are integrating and infusing diversity, equity, inclusion, and justice, and just strengthening what we're doing and making it more effective, which is sort of the nuts and bolts that we don't need to talk to you about, but will make it all better for us, because we're a volunteer organization right now. And our goal is to get enough members that we can actually have a hired staff member, right? So these are a summary of those strategic priorities. If you have any questions, the board voted on it. And so this is our approved strategic plan through 2025. I'm really excited to come here next year and tell you where we're at on these initiatives. And we really need people who will come and volunteer to work on these things, especially the professional development. So you have any questions, pull me aside, ask me questions. I'm happy to tell you more about it, and I want to hear about what you're doing. So thank you about that. Now, at this point, I am going to turn it over to the conference co-chair, Shannon Brooks from the University of Georgia.
All right, good morning. We're so excited to have you all here. And so on behalf of the ESC Program Committee, we have a jam-packed schedule. So I want to give you a few tips for how you can get the most out of your ESC conference experience. So first things first, If you haven't done so already, make sure you download the conference app. Everything is in the app. All the up-to-date information, if there are schedule changes or announcements, it will be in the app. And it's a great way to also connect with other conference participants. So to download it, just go to just search for ESC 2022 conference and use the email that you use to register for the conference. So this is an important first step. So if you haven't done it, do it now. So in the app, you can click on the agenda and browse through all of the available sessions, which are actually both on-site, and we do have a limited virtual track. And if you are one of our on-site participants, you actually can participate in both the on-site and the virtual. So to participate in a virtual session, you do everything through the app. You just click on that session and it will join, and you can just find a comfy and quiet spot somewhere in the Georgia Center and participate. Now, for those of you who are staying in our overflow hotels, information about the courtesy shuttle is also in the app, but we have also posted that information and the schedule at the hotel front desk, the concierge desk, and also at the registration desk. The app also has some really fun ways for you to connect. You can chat with other participants. I noticed some of you are really racking up some points on the leaderboard, so have fun with that as well. Now, to get you oriented to the Georgia Center, there are just a couple things you need to remember about this facility. So all of our concurrent sessions are going to take place on the second floor. All of the plenary sessions and keynotes will take place here in this auditorium, as well as in Masters Hall, which is just across the atrium. Refreshment breaks are also going to take place on the first floor. Now, I promise you will probably find some beverages scattered around upstairs, but the good stuff is on the first floor. So make your way down from your concurrent session and grab some snacks. And also feel free to browse the poster sessions and the exhibit table. And you can do that anytime over the next 2 days. But remember that the official poster session actually takes place tomorrow at 1:30. And we're going to have a nice dessert spread for you to kind of sweeten the deal. So just some important agenda highlights. You do not want to miss our plenary sessions. Today, our opening keynote is by Jay Bailey, CEO of the Russell Innovation Center. And this plenary session is going to take place at 10 o'clock right here in this room. And it will also be available on live stream for our virtual participants. And then tomorrow, you'll want to join us for our closing keynote by T. Dallas Smith, who is CEO at T. Dallas Smith and Company. And this, again, will take place right here in this room, but this time at 10:10. And tonight, you're not going to want to miss out on our ESC conference reception. We're going to be taking a trip to the State Botanical Garden of Georgia, which is an amazing facility and is a huge part of our public service mission at the University of Georgia. It's also a beloved part of our local community. And it's very important. Make sure you wear your name badge for admittance to the reception. And in true Southern style, there's going to be plenty of food. So you probably won't need dinner afterwards. So come enjoy some Southern cuisine and jazz as you stroll through the gardens. And while you're there, make sure that you take advantage of the Porcelain and Decorative Arts Museum, which just opened, and it's a truly amazing place. It's one of my favorite places in Athens. It's full of porcelain inspired by nature. And you will also find a special guest, Harry Dog, roaming through the garden, and he will be available for photos. So to get there, we encourage everyone, even if you have a car, please ride the shuttle because parking is very limited at the garden. And so to do that, you're going to board buses right in front of the Georgia Center starting at 5 p.m. And the last bus will leave the Georgia Center for the garden around at 7 p.m. But we will have buses running in a continuous loop until 10 o'clock. From the Georgia Center to the Botanical Garden. And those will also stop at the overflow hotels. So Holiday Inn Express, Spring Hill Suites, Hilton Garden Inn, and Hotel Indigo. Now, if you have questions about any of this, please go to the registration desk or find someone with a conference committee tag, and we will be happy to assist. But most importantly, we hope you enjoy this time to reconnect with your colleagues. And I now, at this point, like to introduce Roy Rickers-Cook, the Vice President for University Outreach and Associate Provost with Auburn University, to start our program for the W.K. Kellogg Foundation Community Engagement and Scholarship Awards.
There we are. Good morning. And so I would like to welcome ESC attendees, awardees, and guests to the W.K. Kellogg Foundation Community Engagement Scholarship Award Ceremony. My name is Roy Rickers-Cook, and I serve as Vice President for University Outreach and Associate Provost at Auburn University. Today, I will serve as your MC for the presentation. Since 2006, the Association of Public and Land-Grant Universities, or APOU, and the Engagement Scholarship Consortium have partnered to acknowledge the outstanding community university engagement scholarship work of four-year public universities. The W.K. Kellogg Foundation Community Engagement Scholarship Awards recognize universities that have redesigned their learning, discovery, and engagement missions to develop deep and enduring mutually beneficial partnerships with their communities. Before we proceed, I would like to acknowledge the ESC Board of Directors who serve as the 2022 Kellogg Award Selection Committee. They did a tremendous service by reviewing and judging the applications, and many thanks to APOU's Milan Ephraim for her coordination of the selection process. This year, we honor 4 universities selected as recipients of the W.K. Kellogg Foundation Community Engagement Scholarship Award. As we will see in the upcoming video, the recipients represent the multitude of ways scholars and universities partner with communities to co-generate new solutions and knowledge. Let's take a look.
When I started in law enforcement 20 years ago, we knew that majority of people that went to jail at times didn't need to be in jail. They had mental health issues and they needed help, and jail incarceration was not what we needed.
So about 3 years ago, I was in a meeting with Sarah, and she's an Archway representative, which is a hub of the UGA system. And she was talking about needing to have a research project for graduate students. One of the first things that came to my mind was the need for some type of collaboration between the mental health community and law enforcement community.
Through a community-based faculty member, Archway Partnership connects Georgia communities with University of Georgia resources to address locally identified challenges. This mutually beneficial exchange provides valuable research opportunities for faculty and real-world learning experiences for students.
My role with the co-responder model was to research best practices for the Moultrie Police Department to implement the co-responder model in their community. I've spoken with people at CDC, I've spoken with Department of Public Health to get data to give to Moultrie.
I started here in May of this year. My job as the clinical co-responder is to go out with a co-responder from the police department. Oftentimes when we come on scene, when they see the police officer, they assume they're going to jail. My role is not to put them in jail or to involuntarily place them in hospitalization, but to identify what their needs are and how can I assist them.
Archway has worked in 14 communities and completed over 2,000 unique projects.
I grew up in Middle Georgia, and I noticed most people from Middle Georgia North don't know South Georgia exists. So Archway does a good job of bridging that divide and bringing UGA resources to small town USA such as Moultrie.
Great public universities do 3 things. They educate, they generate new knowledge, and they provide important public service to the community they reside in. UTSA has a critical mission in our community to engage and participate with strategic partnerships with the communities that reside all around UTSA, but particularly first and foremost in our West Side community.
The West Side Community Partnerships is a hyper-local, place-based initiative meant to tackle the most challenging issues The West Side is predominantly Mexican American, a community that's faced political disenfranchisement, low educational attainment, redlining practices. But despite all the challenges, it remains one of the most resilient areas you can find. From this community, we've given birth to artists, writers, painters, lawyers, doctors, teachers, professors.
We learned that there were a dramatically large number of homes on the West Side that didn't have clear marketable titles. Doing a title search for each and every one of those homes was one of our first challenges. And so we partnered with the Mexican American Unity Council, and we have accomplished several of them already. And we have some very happy families that now have titles to their home.
So we truly believe that at the end, we will see that partnership flourish because it includes the community.
West Side Community Partnership is really, I would say, an important institution. In the last almost 2 years, UTSA is involved within a rehab project of 3 shotgun houses in order to create, I would say, a model.
What's on your mind? How do you see us? What are some of the challenges that you encounter every day? We wanted this to be our front porch to the community.
The ALC really exemplifies that, starting with trust and starting with these meaningful relationships, you can really accomplish so much more. We have this feeling that like they are in the community, they are of the community, and their goals are the same as ours.
Algo muy interesante de trabajar con el equipo de la Universidad de Vermont es que es un equipo muy flexible, que aceptan sugerencias, aceptan opiniones y adaptar la metodología de acuerdo a las circunstancias del lugar.
At the ALC, we've always partnered with smallholder farms and smallholder farmers. As a group that focuses on agroecology, smallholder folks are at the heart of what we do, and we believe that they create tremendous value within the food system and are the key to the food system transformation that we want to see.
They're not coming to us with specific questions, but instead asking us, what do we need to learn? What do we need to understand to participate better in this global movement?
Y nosotros aquí tenemos un dicho: los investigadores proponen, los facilitadores descomponen. Justamente por eso, porque nos permitieron hacer cambios en la estructura original y eso hizo que los resultados fueran mucho más fáciles y mucho mejor.
All of our work at the ALC is based on relationships. And we think that's the way to co-create the solutions that are going to move us towards food systems transformation.
Broadhead struggles like a lot of small towns. Tight budgets, ever increasing fixed costs. Any outside help that we can get to grow our tax base, grow our economy is definitely needed.
Here we see the beginnings of what is going to be our solar panels. So Judah is a small, very small rural school district in southern Wisconsin. We do provide a lot of opportunities, but we also have limited resources. And so something like that for us to be able to connect not only students, but businesses and other partners, we're always looking for those opportunities.
The University Alliance is essentially a network of people on campus at UW-Madison who want to be more accessible to working with local governments to help them solve challenges. So we created the University Year program where local governments can say, hey, we need help with these things. These things can be everything from recruiting and retaining teachers in our school district to flooding downtown, and then we essentially go around to the university, find people who are willing to incorporate these projects and take them on for the local governments across the state of Wisconsin.
Like one project leads into another idea, leads into another idea. We felt very valued in the process. We felt very important.
And so we all got together and said, you know, what if we took this old bank building and turned it into a commercial office space? We've got 6 and now 7 businesses in this one location. And so that creates capacity throughout the rest of our downtown. University Year is important because it brings that experience at UW-Madison and throughout the state at the university level and brings it right down to the local community and says, here's what's possible.
As you can see, these are some very impressive efforts. We are looking forward to hearing from these Kellogg Award winning institutions. But first, in addition to the regional recipients, each year we also recognize a select number of institutions for their special initiatives and engagements with their communities. This year, 4 institutions will be recognized for their exemplary projects. When named, we ask the university representatives to give a brief statement. Our first exemplary project is Michigan State University's Project ACT, Advocacy and Other Community Tactics to Challenge Barriers to HIV Care for Gay and Bisexual Men and Transgender Women. Robin Miller will accept this distinction.
With the plate there. I want to thank you for honoring Impact, Michigan State, and our 7 African and Caribbean partners for our collective work on Project ACT. Our international partners risk their safety and security every day to advance the human rights of sexual and gender minority people, challenge stigma and discrimination, and ensure equitable access to HIV health care. The risks they take are unimaginable to people in the United States and are ever present. Doing the work that they do, they face imprisonment, violence, and risk to their safety every day, including offices being burnt down and vandalized. I'm humbled to be trusted by them as an ally and as their research partner. We look forward to continuing our work together and remain grateful to APLU and to ESC for recognizing the ethical imperatives of the work we do together. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin. Our second exemplary project is the Literacy Champions program from Texas Tech University. Brigitte Green will accept this distinction.
Hello, I would like to thank the Kellogg Foundation, ESC, and APLU for this honor. And I'm accepting this honor on behalf of Dr. Melanie Leslie, the project lead who can't be here today. I would like to recognize her as well as her instructional coaches and literacy teachers at Lubbock Independent School District for their pioneering work in literacy education and for the impact and difference they are making in literacy education as well as the lives of underserved high school students in the Lubbock region. Thank you.
Thank you, Brigitte. Our third exemplary project is the University of Louisville's Kentucky Racing Health Services Center and the Kentucky Racing Health and Welfare Fund. Henry Cunningham will accept this distinction.
This morning, I humbly accept this award on behalf of 2 of our faculty from our School of Nursing, Dr. Deidre Hayden and Krista Roach, who couldn't be here this morning. These 2 individuals, along with their students, has a wonderful clinic in which they serve many of our very underserved individuals from the immigrant community. If you go to Louisville, at Churchill Downs, the very famous, glamorous Churchill Downs, where the famous Kentucky Derby is run, you will find behind the scenes many of the immigrant population who make sure this work continues. And these 2 women, along with their students, provide a critical health services to all these immigrant community members, along with students from the School of Social Work or School of Dentistry, students from Latin American Latino Studies who provide interpretation and translation services. So they are making a wonderful difference in our community. Thank you to APLU and ESC for this wonderful award. Thank you.
Thank you, Henry. Our final exemplary project is the Education for All program from West Virginia University. Christy Wood Turner will accept this distinction.
Thank you all very much. I am proud to accept this award on behalf of everybody who put work into this project, starting with the leadership at our university, our president's office, President Gordon Gee, and our provost office, especially the encouragement, motivation, and support of our amazing Dean of Engagement and Extension, Jorge Atiles, for getting this together. The work done on this project has been amazing, outstanding, and continues. Thank you to Professor Dr. Katie Ryan and Dr. Jim Nolan, who have put work inside and outside of the prison system to make sure education is for all. It unlocks and brings out the passion and purpose of all community members, including those inside. Thank you guys very much. Thanks to the APLU and ESC for this award.
Thank you, Christy. Thank you to Michigan State University, Texas Tech University, the University of Louisville, and West Virginia University for your exemplary work within your communities. We applaud your efforts. As we move to speak with our Kellogg Award recipients, we must let the audience know in receiving this award, each regional winner has qualified as a finalist for the National C. Peter Mcgraw Community Engagement Scholarship Award, named after APLU's president from 1992 to 2005. The Mcgraw Award would be presented at the APLU annual meeting November 6th through 8th in Denver, Colorado. The winner of the Mcgraw Award will receive a $20,000 grand prize to continue the great community-based work they are undertaking. I would now like to take a moment to recognize the 2022 Mcgraw Award Selection Committee, including Selection Chair Emily M. Yankee, Director of the Institute for Community and Economic Engagement at the University of North Carolina, Greensboro, Burton Bargerstock, President of the Academy of Community Engagement Scholarship, Community Partner Eve Anthony, President and Chief Executive Officer of Athens Community Council on Aging, Laurie Van Eggeren, President of the Engagement Scholarship Consortium, and last but certainly not least, Sharon Painter, Vice Chair for Community Engagement and APLU's Commission on Economic Development and Community Engagement. Thank you all in advance for your difficult job choosing the Mcgraw winner from this amazing group of finalists. Now on to speaking with our Kellogg winners. A representative of each institution will make a statement about their award-winning community engagement as I call their names. Our first Kellogg Award recipient is the University of Georgia for its Archway Partnership. Representing UGA is Michelle Elliott.
Good morning, and thank you to APLU and the Kellogg Foundation for representing the work that our team of faculty does. I'd also like to thank the University of Georgia's President, Jerry Moorhead, and Vice President, Dr. Frome, part of our public service and outreach efforts, for their support and championing our efforts to improve the lives of citizens across the state as part of our Land and Sea Grant mission. I would also like to thank them for constantly challenging our team to find new and innovative ways to expand and improve our work. Archway's mission is to connect Georgia communities with higher education resources to address locally identified community and economic development challenges. What we are sharing with you this week is not a project, but a process that has been replicated many times in the past 17 years to customize solutions to a myriad of challenges facing Georgians. The framework for the Archway model is a true partnership between university and community. A UGA public service and outreach faculty member lives in the community and serves as a third-party convener and facilitator of a plan of action that local residents develop together. It begins with listening sessions, where anyone in the community can express the issues they believe are critical to the opportunities to grow and prosper. The engagement with a broad cross-section of the community is key throughout the multi-year partnership to ensure that local residents are always deciding how UGA resources are deployed. Members of the community volunteer to serve as the Archway Executive Committee, putting aside personal agendas and leaving their official hats at the door, as my community partner Chip Blaylock, who's with us here today, likes to say. As members of the Executive Committee and subcommittees called work groups, residents serve as one body for the betterment of the community. This approach helps them focus on identifying the priorities for UGA faculty and students to address, challenges that have included transportation access, workforce development, food insecurity, housing, and many more. We work together and commit to a long-term relationship, anchored in trust and mutual respect. This work would not be possible without the trust and support of the 14 Georgia counties that we have been fortunate enough to work with. Representing those communities here today is Chip Blaylock from Colquitt County, who is chairman of the local Archway Executive Committee. Colquitt County was the original Archway community launched as a pilot in 2005 and has remained a steadfast partner with the university ever since. Chip embodies all the best qualities in our community leaders. He is committed, respected, and driven to see Colquitt County grow and prosper. Thank you, Chip, for being here today, and thank you for the support that you give us every day. In addition to addressing community needs, Archway also offers important research opportunities to faculty and provides real-world learning experiences for our students. Faculty and students from all of 18 of UGA's schools and colleges have provided expertise to Archway communities, many of them continuing their work even after a community has graduated from the program. We are grateful for their trust in our Archway partnership process and for their service to our state. In closing, I would like to recognize my 500 or so colleagues that make up public service and outreach faculty at UGA. It is an inspiration to see the dedication you have to making our state a better place. And then to our small but mighty team of faculty, students, and staff, I accept this award as well-deserved recognition for the dedication that you have all shared to our mission to improving the lives of citizens throughout the state through your service. Thank you all.
Our second Kellogg Award recipient is the University of Texas at San Antonio for its West Side Community Partnership. Representing UTSA is Roger Enriquez.
First of all, I'd like to thank very much all the folks from APLU, most especially Milan Ephraim, who's been a tremendous resource throughout this entire process, the folks from the W.K. Kellogg Foundation, and of course ESC for all the recognition that we're receiving today. I want to encourage folks in the audience as well to really consider, if you're doing this sort of work, to place an application for the prize, because the experience in and of itself has been tremendously worthwhile. The whole entire process, the application process as well, because I received tremendous feedback. I also want to thank President Taylor Amy for giving this initiative life, our university president, and lending the power of his office to the Westside Community Partnerships by calling it a presidential initiative. To Teresa Nino, who's also in the audience today, our VP for University Relations, who has shepherded this initiative through the labyrinth that can be the University of Texas at San Antonio, and also the feedback and the help that we received from Mary Diaz, Rod McCherry, who provided guidance at all stages, earlier stages of the project. Our provost, Kimberly Espy, Myron Anderson, our VP for Inclusive Excellence, and Dean Lynn Kosman. My Dean, thank you for understanding your patience as we endeavored on this real passion project that has now kicked off on 16 de septiembre, 3 years ago. We're now in our 3rd year. To my colleagues at UTSA, Elvira Leal, Albert Carizales, Rene Centeno, Mario Torres, Albert Salgado, Glenn Martinez, CG, thank you for your tremendous work and belief in the process. Adelante, the best is really yet to come. To our board members, our advisory board, Westside Community Board members, Patty Radel, Diana Sanchez, Ramiro Gonzalez, Rudy Irby, Mario Compian. I have been the beneficiary of your 200 plus collective years of service to the West Side, but most especially to Fernando Godinez, the president and CEO of MOC, a 50-year-old organization that traces its roots all the way back to the Chicano rights movements of the late 1960s, who's been instrumental in providing advice all along the way and has just been indispensable. Lastly, I also want to thank all the families of the West Side, whether that's Elena Gomez from Elena's Taco House, and the dozens of businesses that we helped with our UTSA digital literacy ambassadors to help apply for PPP or EIDL loans, whether it's the families who had fractionalized title like the Gomez brothers, who now rent their home out to folks in affordable housing because their mom had died without a will and didn't have clear title. Our students helped to assist them to clearing that title. To the Cortinas family, who own a shotgun house, who literally bought a kit in the 1930s because the redlining practices on the West Side, who had to build the home with their own hands and purchase the kit from a lumber yard, and still want to keep the home, and are helping and assisting other now members in the community to preserve their shotgun home because it's emblematic of the resilience of the community and helping to preserve that history as well. And lastly, to my family as well, who has spent many evenings, afternoons at the Westside Community Center, Barrio Booze, and everything else, because presence is important and family is important, and at the heart of everything, that's what keeps us all together. Thank you very much.
Our 3rd Kellogg Award recipient is the University of Vermont for its Agroecology and Livelihoods Collaborative. The UVM team sends their gratitude and best wishes to us as they were unable to join today's ceremony. We're excited to send the award to UVM and look forward to seeing their staff soon. Now, our 4th and final Kellogg Award recipient is the University of Wisconsin-Madison for the University Year Program. Representing UW is Gavin Luther.
Sure, all the cameras. Let's see. All right. Get my stuff out. Don't start my clock yet. Wow. Okay. First of all, I wanted to acknowledge that we are on the stolen land of the Muskogee Creek and possibly Cherokee communities. I just wanted to take a moment and acknowledge the fact that we are on their land. Okay. Kind of a strange experience to accept an award with a bunch of people that you don't know and you're not at home. And so I could name a bunch of people, our co-chairs, Joel Rogers, Paul Robbins, Lori Dupree Brown, or, et cetera, et cetera. All of our amazing 27 faculty, 288 students that completed 50 projects over the course of one academic year in Greene County. I could say thank you to our provost and all this kind of stuff for making sure that things happen. We have a brand new chancellor, so she didn't have a lot to do with it, but she's really supportive of us right now. But in particular, I wanted to say thank you so much to Kara Carper for making this possible in Greene County. Without your Energizer Bunny attitude, we all know this would not have been possible, and without your vision. So just for background, the University Alliance is a network of people at UW-Madison looking to make the university more responsive to local governments in the US, Wisconsin, and the world. Why? Because local governments face massive challenges. Think of any major thing that you do every day. Send your kid to school, drive anywhere, flush the toilet, you want to drink water. This all falls on local governments. And the capacity and bandwidth issues are real. They are small, lean local governments that cannot always have the expertise to do what they need to do. That's why they have to hire very, very expensive consultants. So we are taxpayer supported consultants that can go and be working in communities. And so we try to do this every year. We have a 3-year partnership, and I would say more than 3 years. We don't just end at 3 years. You know, they need thought partners. And above all, I want to emphasize the fact that we are a culture change initiative at University of Wisconsin-Madison. We think scholarship needs to be responsive to what communities deal with. I'm preaching to the choir here. We know that. I specifically wanted to say thanks to my colleagues at the Morgard Center for Public Service, Haley Madden and Corey Sprinkle, who are here somewhere. Maybe they're waving. And they convene the Civic Action Plan Implementation Group. So we are just one speck of dirt in this larger group of people who are trying to make UW-Madison responsive. We are grateful to the Educational Partnerships for Innovations in Communities Network, which is a group that's helped create the model that we are implementing. They've created a financially sustainable way that is easy and straightforward to get university resources with localities on an ongoing basis. We serve a different community every year, and we actually do not go broke. We don't get any state funding to do this. Shame on the legislature, but we do not. We raise our own money, and communities help us there. So when we conducted a ripple effects mapping evaluation session with Greene County recently, it was remarkable. The community talked about a new public health educator that had been hired, and a community food pantry that is now addressing local food needs, and a new teacher mentoring program that was created. And people even in real time were saying, I didn't realize the county did that. I want to make new connections. They were learning and networking, and that wouldn't have happened without that partnership. So at University of Wisconsin-Madison, we have a guiding idea called the Wisconsin idea. The motto that the university says is the boundaries of the university or the boundaries of the state. Everybody in the university or everybody in the state should see the value of University of Wisconsin. I'm worried that this idea is becoming a mere public relations slogan. One more way the university to show how great it is, and one more reason why the citizens should be thanking us for coming to their community. But really, when you look at the history of the Wisconsin idea, it actually is about how to work and learn about how to do self-government. We don't know everything. The community doesn't know everything. We learn from the community, they learn from us. So how can we actually make it a new way street? Together, we have to co-create a better world. And it's essential to have a structure at the university that can easily make this happen. And that's what the University Year is. And that's what the Alliance is, our network of about 30 people on campus who believe in this germ of an idea. And we're really challenging the university to be more outward facing. And let's hope we can actually change the system this time. Thanks. The award. Okay, thanks.
And to all the awardees, a big thank you and another round of applause. I'm sure our audience members have many questions for our Kellogg Award winners, and I invite you to join us in the learning more during the Institutional Strategies for Community Engagement session at the APLU annual meeting November 6th through 8th in Denver, Colorado. This session will be hosted by Sharon Painter, and will give us the opportunity to learn more from these programs and discuss the future of university community engagement. Be sure to visit aplu.org/events to register. I also want to encourage all APLU member universities to consider submitting their best examples of community engaged scholarship initiatives for next year's awards. Stay tuned for the request for applications coming from APLU's Commission on Economic Development and Community Engagement, or CC for short. You can learn more about the Community Engagement Scholarship Awards by visiting aplu.org/CC. Finally, let's congratulate these award winners one more time. Again, my name is Rory Cook from Auburn University, and it has been an honor to serve as MC for the award ceremony. After the break, we invite all attendees to join us in the Mailer Hall at 10 a.m. for the opening plenary session with Jay Bailey. This program is now concluded. We hope you have enjoyed this year's W.K. Kellogg Award ceremony. Best wishes to all of you as you continue to engage with communities to achieve great outcomes for your state, our nation, and the world. Thank you.